Okay, so we take a look at these two swings here, buddy. On the left was your before. Decent setup, start position looking very good. Take away a lot of things in the back swing were nice, okay. Club going back nicely with the torso. Sitting at the golf club now much more on line to target, not so much laid off. The main focus now you've got to work on, as we said, in your practice swings and sort of the feeling of the club coming back down is trying to avoid this sort of club at this position where the back of your left hand, as we can see sort of the logo on your glove pointing up to the sky, which would in turn mean the club face now is pointing kind of up in this position, which means that club face is open, aiming to the right. As you come in, if you come in from a sort of correct path in the golf ball, that ball now is going to curve off to the right. So what you end up having to do is either trying to spin with your left foot too much, spin your hips, or flick the club with your hand. And if you do either one of those three, what it causes now, the next sort of few frames, we can see that club now getting on the outside of the golf ball there. And that means that club path is working left, which is obviously going to create a lot of slice spin with the longer clubs, and could potentially lead to some of those unmentionables with the irons there, where that club is kind of coming out of the line, catching the hosel. So the feeling you've got to really work on, and to be fair to you, in the on-course session in the afternoon there, you really did it well. Get yourself to the top of the backswing, feel this downswing now as a movement, okay? So we're not thinking too much during the swing, but as you get to here now, you can see the back of your left hand now pointing more down to the ground, and that'd be the same with the club face now in this position. The club face now will be what might perceive to you slightly closed, but actually in a square position from that spot. So as you go from here now, all you got to do is just sort of rotate your body kind of naturally, and that club now will work more from the inside path. And we can see by doing 3 or 4 of these sort of bump movements and swings, thinking loads in the swing here now. See that club face again, tipping down to the ground, your left wrist now getting what we call that kind of bowed position. Really, really good, strong position for that left hand to hit some quality shots, as you did obviously in the evening that night. Do this in your practice swing over and over again. Then when we step to the golf ball, the ball is there, we look at target and simply hit the golf ball. So with that feeling in the practice swing now, say same good top of the backswing position, the club as it comes back down now, feeling to you stronger as that club now is coming in the golf ball. We can see the shaft now staying this side the golf ball and then into the frame just for impact. The club shaft now staying, as we can see, left of the golf ball. It hasn't gone on the outside of the ball. So if we look at those two images there, one's going to be a pretty solid strike from the middle of the golf club, one's going to be a pretty hosily, maybe shanky strike shooting off to the right there. So keep working on that practice movement you did last night on the course. Think loads in your practice swing, get this sort of bump feeling, so you get the feeling of how your right hand and how your left wrist are going to feel at this position here now. Really good image there of that club now, that left wrist nice and flat, if anything a little bit kind of what we call bowed, where the left wrist points a bit more down to the ground rather than that cupped position you were getting before. So work on that wrist position, and then from there, mate, just step to the golf ball and give it a rip as you were doing yesterday. So hope that makes sense, buddy. Any questions, obviously give me a shout and I'll catch up with you soon. Cheers, buddy.